Alright, so I've recently transferred a website for a client from a Joomla 1.5 to Joomla 2.5, and in the process we've migrated from Mtree to SobiPro. So I had to figure out an easy way to do this, being that they had 250 to 300 listings and 150 or so categories. We weren't going to do this manually. So I've created a list of database script basically to use in PHP My Admin, which will transfer these items from one database to the other, or at least from one table to the other, and make it a quick process. Now this video may take some time because I'm trying to go through each step so that you can understand. You can't just, this isn't just plug and play, you can't just use it and copy it over. There are a couple things you may have to change. Maybe you don't have to change anything at all, but I want to make sure that everybody understands what I've done. So this is the Joomla 1.5 install of Mosets with all the categories and all the items. This is my business directory listing on SobiPro with only a couple categories and maybe a few items listed. What I've done to prepare for the transfer, to clean up the table, I've deleted the extra section that was here and all of the extra listings that were in that section, and I've also deleted the extra categories from the default business directory section, and I've left a couple. And the reason I've left at least one of them is when you transfer the items from Mtree to SobiPro, each item has to have at least one parent category in the same table. So in order to do that, I've left computers and internet, which is category 2. I will unpublish this once everything's transferred over, but this will be the parent category for all listings, but they'll also be listed in other categories. So you can do that, select one category, then unpublish it once you're done, and that will not appear, and so everything else will appear under the correct category. Let's go ahead. Also, what I've done is under the field section, I have created a new website field. The original website field, the code is encrypted, the data is encrypted, so you can't do a direct transfer. It will not be able to display properly on the site. So you delete the default website field and create a new one. Also create any other fields that you may have had in Mosets that you need, and remember their ID. I think the only one I added was these two. So I added the address and the state and the website field. So that's where they have the higher numbers. Okay, so let's go to the table and see what I've done here. I've copied from Mosets, I've copied these 4 tables that we need to use. The links table will include all the listings, their listing IDs, all of their information, and then the CL data is a category link, so it has the listing, the link ID, and then the category ID, and the link between the two, so the ID. So then the CF values, that's for the custom field values. So the custom field IDs are here and their values are listed as well, so we need that to transfer. And then we have the categories, and these are all the categories in the Mtree. So the difference is on here the categories are in a separate table than the links, so their IDs can be the same, but on the in SobiPro they're in the same table. So I've had to make some changes to make that work. So let's start out going through my notes. What I've done here is I've added the latitude field, which on mine is blank because I was not using the map feature. I've made sure that I'm updating every listing and adding a 2 there. That 2 will be the category ID for the for the computers and internet. So I'll be able to just do that in one swoop. I won't have to make any other changes. So that ID will be held in that table, and then I'm also, because they share the same table, they cannot have the same IDs. So instead of worrying about where my IDs end, I just added 400 to each of the link IDs. So the link ID, if it's 1, it will now be 401, 402, etc. That way, there's no way it will clash with the category ID because I don't have over 400 categories in the table. So let's go ahead and make these changes first. In your PHP My Admin, you go to the SQL tab, paste this here, and click Go. So now if we go to the CL table, we can see the ID start at 400, 401, 403, and that's the same thing as in the links table, 401, 403. So the next step is we're going to insert the items from the links table into the SobiPro objects table, which include, we're going to take the ID, the name, node ID, approved, etc., the parent. The parent will be the ID of the parent category, which is the computers and internet, and that will be carried over from the latitude field. So each one of these corresponds to a field within the MoSets table. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's look at the table first just to see what's in there. So we have just a few items, and these are the categories and a few listings, and we're going to add the rest of the listings here. So we've added 260 rows. Let's go back, and now we have all of the listings starting at 401 so that they don't collide with any of the IDs. And if you go over here, you'll see that we have a lot of fields that are null because they were not in the MoSets table or didn't transfer them over. So what I've done is created another script that will just update these fields. But first, I'm going to add into the relations table, which holds the ID, the entry. It holds the type, and it holds the position, and it holds the parent ID for the category. So we're taking this information from the empty links, and we're going to copy this over, and we're going to also use the latitude field, which has the number 2 for the ID of the parent category. So let's do this one. So we've added 260, and now we have all of these. So here the entry, it should be entry. All of these and all of these are null, and this section should be entry. So we're going to take the next section and fill in all the blanks. So on the relations table, we're going to fill in the type to entry, the position to 1, add a valid and valid entail. Now they're all filled in, all of the sections are filled in properly. The next step is to set all the objects in all of the fields in the objects table that were left null to have a value. So let's go back to the objects table. And see that these items are null, so we have all this data that's left null. We're going to fill all that in right now. So now we go back, and now all that data is full. We don't have any null sections. And what we're also going to do is on the node ID or NID, the IDs have underscores, but I've used the alias transferred over from Mtree, and those have dashes. So we want to convert the dashes to underscores so that they work properly with SobiPro. So the next line will do that. This will find and replace all dashes to underscores. Let's go back and check it out. So now they all have underscores instead of dashes. The next one is we're going to enter the listing field values, and some of the field values are found in the MT links table, which are the default ones, which would be let's see, the address, where are we? The ID, the name, okay, so name, address, city, state, postcode, telephone, fax, email, and website. Those are all in the MT links table in Mtree, so they are along with the listing. The custom fields, like the contact person and my contact person's position, those are found in the CF, the custom fields value. So I had to use the IDs of my custom fields, and if you go, let's go and look at that. If we go to the custom fields here, you can see that my contact person, the field ID is 29, the position is 30. So going back here, we'll see we're taking 29 and 30, and we're adding it to the field data section, and we're giving it a new ID. So let's go ahead and copy all of these, and let's go to the field data table first and take a look at that. So right now we have the field data. These go for all of the listings that are currently there, the custom fields for that, and we're going to add all of ours here. So now we have 12 pages of that, and we have the address and the ID, but we have a lot of fields that are left null, just like in the other table. So the next script will fill in all of that information. We'll fill in the publish up, publish down, and the section. Section 1 is the section, which is business directory. We want to make sure that these are listed in that section, so we'll fill that in. And then the next part is we'll update all miscellaneous field values, which are the rest of those fields that were left null. And then go back and take a look. You'll see that all the fields that needed to be updated have been updated. These fields can remain null, that's fine. But these items have been updated. So the next one, we have to add the listing relationships to the category. So we're going to edit the relationship category again. We're going to fill in the ID and the parent ID from the link ID and the cat ID and the CL table from Mtree. Just go ahead and do that. It's fine. And so we've done that. We've also filled in the items that were null and changed the dates all in one swoop. So that all worked together. So now we have all of our listings in the section. And if we go to the SobiPro, go to all entries, they are there now. So they're all there. They're all under the computers and internet category. And now we want to add all of our categories to this section. It also transferred the published data, as you can see, and approved, and so that's all there. Let's actually look at somebody's information. And we have all of the custom fields entered here, the alias and everything. So now we need to add the categories. So I'm going to pull over my category script and go ahead and go from there. So let's go back to the database. And what we have to do first is set the language under SobiPro language table to English Great Britain by default. There's an issue where every time I tried to add an item and add that field, there was a conflict, and I guess it was saying that there were duplicates, so that would not work properly. So I just went ahead and made a default value for the language table. So under Sobi language, go to edit the language field and just set the default to English Great Britain. Hopefully you are using English Great Britain. If not, then set it to your language and it will work that way. Now we can go ahead and start. So what we're going to do is take the cat ID and the description and enter it into the ID and description into the SobiPro category table. Let's go and look at that table. Right now there are only four items in here, so we're going to go ahead and fill in this data. 125 categories were added. So we've added their ID and we've added just their ID and the description if they had a description, but they didn't. So everything else was left null, so we're going to go ahead and fill that in. And basically all these scripts, when I fill in the blank, they're just saying update the SobiPro category, set position to 0 where position is null, set icon to blank where icon is null. Go back, and now there are no more null fields, so everything is as it should be. The next step is to fill in the relationship table between the category data and the category data and the position and the ID. So let's go ahead and do that. And what table is that? That's the relations table. Fill that in there. and we don't have to look at that. That's self-explanatory. The next one is fill in the table, the object table with these categories. So right now in the object table we have type to category. So in the category we only have, you can see 4 items that are listed under category. We'll do it this way. Okay, so 4 items under category. We're going to add all of the items from the category table into this section. Let's do it this way. And I've included where it's greater than 0 so that the root category isn't copied over. So let's do this. And go back over here. Select category. So now we have all the we have the categories added, but all the fields besides the ID, the name, and the reference are blank. They're all null. So we want to go ahead and fill in that section. What we're doing is we're adding all of the sections, and we're also adding the type category, so that all of our new items that have a null value will now have category. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so now we'll go over here and we'll select the type of category, and we'll see all of the categories have been added and none of the field values are null. The next step is to insert the categories into the language file. They have to have an item, at least a row in the language file, so we're going to take the we're just going to set it, what are we doing? We're going to set the name, name, language, and description in the MT-cats. Okay, so what I'm doing is in the MoSetsTree category table, I'm setting the title to name. I'm setting the category or the meta keys to the language, and I'm setting the description to category. This way we can transfer those over in one step rather than doing them separately. So we're updating that category or that table, and then we're going to transfer that data over to the new one. So let's go to the category table and look at it. So on the category we have title, meta key. Okay, so I don't have anything for the titles, so I can fill in that information. Meta key or meta description, I don't have anything there either. So I'm just using these tables as placeholders to copy this data over. So let's go back. Now we have name, they're all the same, and then we have category and the language under those other tables. So if we go back here, we're going to insert into the language, we're going to insert the S key, S value, ID, and the type, and we're going to pull that from the ID, meta description, the ID and meta description. So let's go ahead and do that. That worked. 124 rows updated, and then next we're going to update the title and description. And then next we are going to we're just changing the title of each one because they have to have a field in the language. There's a table for the title, there's a table for, a field for the title, description, and the intro text. Each one has a value, so we're just adding the value, but we're adding a blank value to it, but we have to have that table, so that's why I'm doing this. So now if we go to the SobiPro language field, we will see that the category, if you look right here, the current category, we have intro text, name, and description. Only the name has the name of the title, but these also have to be here. They just don't have any values. So we've added that for all of the categories. Okay, and one last thing is change the language back. So we're going to go to SobiPro language. We're going to go to the structure and change this table back to blank as the default value. And that's it. So now if we come here, we have 0 categories. Go to the section configuration, go to general configuration, clear your cache. That will allow the categories to work properly. And now go back to the business directory and you'll see that all of the categories have been added as well. So click business directory, we have all the categories. Say we wanted to view all entries and we wanted to add a category. We can go ahead and click on, say, one of the current ones. And we can add any of the categories that were transferred over. And now if we view the site, I may have to change it, but let's go to the directory. We can see all the categories are here, including the default one, which we will unpublish. And if you go under each section, the items are up here. So everything else has to do with changing the layout and making it look good, setting the fields to display. But now everything's been transferred over. If you have any questions, leave a comment, and I will try to help the best I can. I'll include my migration scripts in the post, obviously, on my blog, and you can download that and edit it as needed and use it freely. Thank you. Hope this helps.